Ahoy, mateys! This is Caitlin, aka Queen She-Wolf.
Hey, this is Jamie, aka JD Star 88 on Tumblr.
And we are back after a very long hiatus of doing these podcasts. Because
Yay!
yay, we are in the home stretch. We are in the home stretch where we're just got a few more chapters to program.
And a long time coming, but we're almost there.
Almost there. We're almost there. So, in this podcast, what we're going to do is we're just going to answer some questions, and then we are going to really dive deep into that PB employee review. Now, I know it's old news, but this is the only time we could get both of us to record. So,
Yeah, that 2-job life ain't fun, you know.
Exactly. So let's start with the fun stuff. Let's start with the non-complaining stuff. First question is, where will you pick up again?
So the sequel is set to pick up 2 years after the original Distant Shores ended. So there is going to be a 2-year gap, and stuff happens because stuff happens in 2 years. What will happen for us to know and you to find out?
Yeah. So so it picks up 2 years after you see Bob in the museum, and he says, "Let's get that compass." And of course, planning something like that takes a while. So yeah, there's 2 years, and of course, obviously, a lot can happen in somebody's life in 2 years. So some things happened in MC's life. So 2 years it is.
You got a plot to steal this compass, pull like a whole national treasure scheme on it, man.
Exactly. Oh, this is a good one. How much will you hurt us?
Oh, well, I'm going to answer that question quickly like this. We're not Pixelberry. Okay, y'all are gonna get your choice at a happy ending.
Yes, you're gonna get a happy ending. Are there things that may upset you? Probably. I mean, we can't make everybody happy. That's what happens when you create something. But we won't hurt you the way that Pixelberry hurts you by leaving everything on a cliffhanger and you don't see the LI anymore. Next question is, what's the easy and difficult parts when it comes to making this story?
I think the easiest part for us was, I know we bash on them a lot, but Pixelberry did lay a great found work for us to honestly make a part 2. They did create and establish some really awesome characters that we've all fallen in love with. So I am going to give them credit where credit's due, even though I, tend to bash on them. But I think once you have that story with the characters already established and you kind of already have a sense for their personalities, it's so much easier to work on making a story that does justice to these characters, but also in a way that helps bring them even more to life and try to keep them the same characters that you fell in love with the first time around.
I agree. Yes, I do agree that writing the characters, again, yes, as much as I hate them, I do give credit. I will give credit to PB for creating lovable characters that were just pretty much easy to transition into the sequel without making brand new characters, brand new LIs, brand new whatever. So yes, I would say, of course, just writing the characters and maybe even writing a little bit of the story as well. Parts of the story were pretty easy. Now, Jamie, what do you say is the difficult parts?
I would definitely say working with multiple people. Now, Caitlin, you and I have met a ton of amazing people working on this project, but we've also met people from all over the world, and that's not a bad thing. It just becomes harder to work with people in different time zones, because what is 7 p.m. here for us, for reference, we're on East Coast in the United States. So what is 7 p.m. for us is like 2 a.m. for somebody else working on this project. And unfortunately, that could be the only time we can meet with them. So they have to stay up late, and then we feel bad. So as fun and amazing as it is to meet people from all over the world, definitely coordinating those time zones can be a little tricky.
Yes, I will say that, of course, dealing with everybody's different time zones. I also, of course, have to say programming, because I don't know anything about programming. I mean, I did the basics. We did the basic scripting. That was easy, but still, my God, that was a boring job. That was the boring job, but it needed to be done because our amazing programmer said it was a huge help. So I said, you know what? Good. I don't know your job, but I want to make it easier for you. But yes, I would definitely say programming was the hardest. And programming is also the hardest job to find, I always felt. We always were so short on programmers. And we just like, where do we find them? Where do we find them?
Programming.com. I
know. Yes.
But our programmer is amazing. She gets big 2 thumbs up skis.
Big 2 thumbs up. 2 thumbs up. Like Sigourney Bird in the 90s. What are the best and funniest parts? As somebody asked.
Well, I'm going to chime in and say the funniest part was when we came up with certain lines that characters say that we chuckle when we're writing the script and we include these lines. Now, y'all aren't going to understand because there's backstories and we cannot share some of these backstories with some of these lines, but let's just say next time says have a good day and you go to you as well, sir. The meaning will never be the same.
I agree. Anything, yes, the best and the funny parts are just anything that comes from real life. Like I kind of had a real good time like basing MC's dad off of my dad. I had a lot of fun with that. I had a lot of fun with that. Or of course, I also bashed my exes as well in the story.
It's very therapeutic.
It is. Oh my God, is it therapeutic? So I was like, okay, let's see. What's the most legal way I can hurt my exes? Oh yeah, why don't I just write about them in my stories? That's it. And as long as I say, oh, I made mistakes too in the relationship, I say, I'm justified. I'm justified.
But to anybody out there listening, if you have an ex that you hate, like, we're with you. We've all been there.
Oh, we've all been there. We've all been there. Oh, this is one. Do you base the plot on how you wish the story would be and end?
Oh, that is a good one. Whoever wrote that, awesome. Because that's a very good one.
Yeah.
I would say a little bit of both. Because we did have to go off of what Pixelberry had already kind of established. So part of the plot line was already there with them trying to come back to the 18th century. But a lot of it, I took inspiration from other adventure novels and adventure movies and trying to think what would a pirate do? How would a pirate act? And I think it was a healthy combination of of both. And obviously we wanted to make sure it ended in a way where you don't sob in a river of tears with an empty tissue box and Pirates of the Caribbean playing on repeat in the background. July 2020 was not good.
I don't think July 2020 was good for anybody around the world. It was still during COVID.
It was. That was so fun. Quarantine.
And we said this in a previous podcast. That's probably one of the reasons why we thought DS failed, was because it was just released during a bad time. And
I feel like a lot of, like, even not just like with Pixelberry, but like a lot of like movies and like music, all the art suffered. And I mean, we're glad everyone stayed safe, like very much stay safe, but it was kind of hard to see all the arts take a hit.
Yeah. Anyway, back to the question. Yes, we kind of did both. We kind of did both because yes, we have the characters, but then this whole sequel of getting back in time and what to do, and that was just for all of us. And of course, the ending, yeah, that was all what we wanted. And that was all what we wanted, and what you would want as well. And last question. Anything else you want to share about creating this story?
I would say the best thing I've learned that I would want to share with anybody with creating just any story is just always make sure it comes from your heart. I think people can tell if your heart's in something. They can feel that passion. And I think there's nothing greater than being able to share something you love with people, and hopefully they love it as much as you do.
I agree. And also another thing I do want to say is that this is a project that's very hard. And when something is very hard, it's very easy to just make an excuse and give up. I know I've lamented on the weekend updates, like, we're so done with this. We're running out of gas, everything like that. But you cannot let it fall. You cannot let it fall. And that's why I always say we need deadlines. We need deadlines to get things done, because if there's no deadlines, then it doesn't get done. At least with me, because I know so many people were saying to me, why don't you just, we can wait, you can push the deadline. And I'm like, no, we are releasing this game in 2024. That is it. If we have to go into 2025, it is scrapped. I don't want to deal with this anymore. So you do get to a point when you're like, I can't do this anymore. And that's okay. What I truly feel like is not okay is just kind of just putting your hands up and saying, I don't want to do this anymore. So therefore, I'm not going to do it anymore, and let down all of those people that are waiting for you to get a sequel. So, because I always knew, like, if this project fell, I got like 700 people that want my head on a pike. So I'm like, I got a responsibility to do. I got a responsibility to get this done. And that's the big thing, is that you have a huge responsibility when you make a project like this, because people are fed up. People don't, you want people only to be angry at PB, not angry at you.
And you also have to remember, we for all legal reasons, we have to do this completely free. We can't have things cost diamonds. We can't pay anyone. This is strictly all volunteer on your free time. And also, when you have bills to pay, finances to make, you have to remember this isn't something that's getting paid. So that can also make it really difficult to continue, because it's like, well, what do I do? Do I need to devote time to working on something for free because I have people counting on me? Or do I need to make sure I have enough money to pay my mortgage this month and pick up this extra shift at my job? It's a hard balance.
It is a huge balance. And none of us, including Jamie and I, none of us are getting paid to do this. I know I once had like a really angry person come to me and say, like, you have people doing this for free and you're making them overwork or whatever. Just some ridiculous keyboard warrior that probably couldn't even say it to my face. But I'm like, I'm doing this for free as well. I'm overworking myself. You know?
And what the keyboard warrior probably forgot is, by law, it has to be free, or we're going to be behind bars, and nobody wants that.
Oh, and
people, we don't deserve to be behind bars.
And what I love about that keyboard warrior was they said in the middle of their rant, not to be mean. Well, you are being mean, you fucking idiot.
That's why they got blocked.
Well, that's why they were anonymous. They were anonymous because they didn't want to, they didn't want to at least give their names. That's how you know they're a coward. So
scratch that part that they got blocked, because I forgot they were anonymous. Scratch that part, please.
Yeah, they were anonymous. Yeah. And
my dad always used to tell me that if you couldn't say it to someone's face, you shouldn't be saying it behind their back. And I think the same rule should apply now. If you can't say it to my face, don't be saying it behind the anonymity of a keyboard.
I know. Yeah, exactly. And speaking of that, now we go to the point where we bash PB.
Yes. I want to say the disclaimer that the review that we're going to get into is public, written by a former Pixelberry employee. It is on Reddit. It is not something we are making up. You can look it up, and since it is on a public platform, free access to look at it and free access to interpret what you think.
And also, we do want to say, we know we just bashed somebody talking crap on the internet to us, and we're doing the same thing with PB. We just want to say, we would, if we had all the power to go in and just knock on PB's door, we would do it. We would do it, and we would say everything that we're going to say to them right here. So yes. So anyway, so I say yes. If we're not afraid to do it both on the screen and in person, we can say it. And we gave our names out. We're not anonymous, and yep. So anyway, so this came from a Glassdoor review. Now, if you don't know what Glassdoor is a website where you find jobs, but also you can review companies. And it gets a little annoying well, actually, it doesn't get a little, it's really annoying that in order to get those reviews, you have to make an account, or you have to write something about a previous employer you had. You gotta do something in order to read the reviews. But anyway, so that's what Glassdoor is. And it was from March 25th of 2024 from a producer who is a former employee that worked there for more than a year. And this person gave it 3 stars out of 5. And the title is Poor Product Management Led to Mass Layoffs, about 75% of the staff. And this person does not recommend the company, does not see anything positive in the business outlook. And for some reason, I don't know, the CEO approval is blank, maybe because the CEO is MIA. But this person at least has one pro, and that is the people are truly the only important aspect of PB. Most folks there are passionate and dedicated, and the staff pool is one of the most diverse I've ever seen. So, Jamie, what do you want to say about that?
I actually would think that's true based on, now I don't know what kind of books you're getting now since I don't play, but from when I played, the variety of different books. But also remember, I played during what they call like the golden era, when Bolas Ones, Distant Shore, Elementalist, Ride or Die. Like I call that like the golden era. But the people you work with, I can see what they mean. The people you work with really can truly make or break your job. If you don't like your coworkers or you don't get along with your coworkers, it's not gonna be smooth sailing.
Yes. And I always find that with the job. Like I always enjoy working with my coworkers. And one of the most diverse staff pools. I mean, hey, that's great. You know, times are changing and we're all being more inclusive and everything like that. So that's always great to hear. And also when you work with more diverse people, you get, of course, different opinion, you know, you get different viewpoints and, you know, like, oh, no, our people will not say that, or, you know, so it's always good to have like a motley of people to work with.
It is.
And you always learn from people.
And that's what can lead to really awesome friendships that being like, I never knew this, and then you guys could partner on a book that's both totally something you wouldn't have done before, but because you came from two different backgrounds, you made this collaboration and it ends up working out really well.
Yeah. So now we get to the cons. This is now where we're really going to nitpick this. And we wish we could say this to PB's face, but we cannot. Because if we knock on their door and start screaming, we'll be arrested. Or we don't, or you know, or they don't know where we live and we can't talk to them. But yeah, we would love to talk to them about this. But yeah,
when it said the CEO, because they didn't fill that part in. I know, because you said you got like a newsletter update. I guess there was like they got a new CEO now.
Yeah, they got a new CEO. They said the former CEO had to step down due to, I think, family issues or something like that. I said, all right, you know, that's of course not my business.
Whatever's going on with the former CEO, just know we wish you well and we hope whatever's going on works out in your favor. God
of course. Yes. We may be angry at you, but we're not angry at your family. So anyway. But anyway, now to the cons. Poor management. I've seen people with zero management training getting promoted into managers, suddenly expected to manage over 4 people and providing little to no support for their team. I didn't have any opportunities for career growth. My manager didn't have time for me aside from putting out fires.
Interesting.
I think we all have dealt with poor management. We all have dealt with poor management where somebody is just not trained to lead people. And a lot of times I've also noticed that companies don't want to take the time to train people. And then this is what happens. Now we don't know if this person, if these managers actually lied on their resume, or PB just walked in, just picked out of the crowd and said, okay, you're hired, you know, or you don't need any experience. But bottom line is, you're dealing with people that don't know what they're doing. Yeah, when your leader doesn't know what to do or is just a poor manager in general, that brings everything down. It brings everything down.
And that's not to say, not me trying to put a positive spin on it, but like there are some jobs where you do learn on the job and you do learn, like, you know, learn by doing. And some people do learn that way. And that's awesome. And, you know, if you don't have experience, that's okay too, because, you know, I know how hard it is to get a job out there and they want you to have like 80 years of experience and you, that's like, you should have started working when you were like 5. But if you know if you at least have some information on what the job's going to entail, I feel like you should know, or at least be upfront and honest when I've never done something like this before.
Yeah, exactly. Or my last company that I worked for did it differently. How do you do it over here? You know, so that's always a problem. And when also when this person said that they didn't have opportunities for career growth, that's always that's always a job killer. When somebody, I felt it as well. When I feel like I am at a company and I am not advancing anywhere, or I'm not learning anything, or I'm not doing anything, it kills morale. It kills it, because then you're like, why am I here? Why am I here? Why, if a company says, oh, we love our employees, we invest in our employees, well, why aren't you helping me get ahead in the company? Why aren't you doing that? Next one. I think we've all dealt with this one. Terrible communication between departments and products. Quiet incompetence is a serious issue here. I know of several cases where people were not doing their jobs and somehow getting away with it for years. Oh my God.
Oh man, I think we need to take the kettle off the stove and pour extra large grande size cups of tea with that one.
Oh boy. We have all, I think everybody has dealt with bad communication. Everybody has dealt with bad communication. And it's always like, where did this information come from? Did it just came from the sky, and or did this just come out of your head right away? I mean, where did these, these things that you wanted me to do come out? I've had that so many times. I've had that so many times. And of course, people not doing their jobs and getting away with it. Oh my God. I think that's probably why that's probably ties into the first complaint about poor management. If poor management wasn't doing their job and they were getting away with it. Yeah.
I will say with the communication thing, with the advancements of technology, which, don't get me wrong, some of this stuff is a good thing, but it also opens more communication errors in the sense where it's like, oh, I emailed so and so. Oh, I thought you texted so and so. Did you? So there's more ways for information to get around, which is great. But then it also for more ways for information to get lost, because what if the text didn't go through? What if the email ended up in junk? It does more things for the communication to get lost.
And that's why we, especially since we have people all over the world, like we said, before, it's very hard, of course, when you're dealing with people all over the world, but at least we have just some form of common place to communicate with, which is our Discord server. And of course, we always welcome, hey, if you have any questions, please come to Jamie or I to talk. It just seems like I always feel like with companies, they never have that sort of rule. Like, please come to me, please come to me if you need something, or, here's the ways that you can reach me. Here are my office, here's when I'm in the office, or yada, yada, yada. It's just send an email and that's it. And I've had that many times where I've had a due date and somebody wouldn't get back to me. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess this has to go to print. I guess this has to go to print, because you're not communicating me of what what you need the design changed or whatever.
I just think of that meme of The Simpsons with like Bart holding up the cake that says, "At least you tried."
You tried. Exactly. Okay. All right. This is a big one. They held a meeting in August of 2023 explaining that layoffs were likely coming. It was transparency that a lot of other companies don't provide. However, it absolutely ruined morale for the next 6 months. When I mean, this is a give or take. I mean, yes, it's good that they mentioned the layoffs, but they should have said, I'm wondering if they said, we're trying extremely hard not to lay anybody off. Because that's the last thing that, like, that's, I mean, that's the last thing a company would want to do, is just lay people off. And what happens when you lay people off, companies actually realize, oh, we really needed that person. We really needed that person, but you laid that person off. So why did you do it? Why did you do it? So that's, and now, of course, with the layoffs, everybody is seeing, especially with the cover art, it's AI generated. It's AI generated, some of the cover art. And it's like, yep, that's because you laid off 75% of your staff. And everybody knows that. Everybody in the PB community knows that when a post comes up saying, like, is this AI? And they're like, yeah, it's AI, because they laid off their staff.
Now, I do remember seeing something on Tumblr that, which I do commend Pixelberry for. They said that they were going to have like resume fairs where they were going to like help their staff that, unfortunately, that they were going to be laying off. They were going to help them, like, fix their resume and help get them get their work out there. So I do commend them for that, at least.
Yeah, I know. Let's. I've had that happen. I've had companies say that. Let's see if they actually do that. And with that, like, I've never. Yeah. Let's see if they do that. That's all I'm gonna say. Let's see if PB will do that. Last one, and this one is terrible. Another company where connections mean more than doing a good job. Layoffs came in January 2024, and an entire project was sunset, Storyloom, which was Storyloom. However, people on the product that was still going, which was Choices, were let go to make room for specific Storyloom employees to be retained, even though they had zero experience working with the product. It was insulting. That has to be. I agree. That has to be insulting. That has to be. You take a staff from your other product that failed, and then you take that staff and put it in with the product that is working, and you lay off those people that are working on that product, who knows what they're doing. It doesn't make sense. I don't know. It's because Storyloom is very different than Choices. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And I get why people want to I get why people want to hire either within the company or somebody they know, because they know that person. However, you got to know that person does a good job or knows what they're doing. This doesn't sound like it. This just sounds like, oh, this person's really cool, I want to work with them. And who cares if they don't know what Choices is and they only know what Storyloom is. But yeah. But yeah, what's your take? What's your take on that?
Ah,
Probably the same.
yeah, and unfortunately, it's one of those things that, well, yes, we have this employees review on Glassdoor, but no matter what, we're never going to actually truly know what went on behind closed doors. And that's what makes it kind of like, kind of like hard and frustrating, because it's like, we want the truth.
Yeah.
We'd love to know.
We'd love
and,
to know.
And I don't want to bash like everybody, because I'm sure there are some good
no,
but it's like, it's like, you get where I'm coming from, that we just don't know everything.
We don't. I mean, that's the thing. We don't. Of course, we don't know anything. We don't know everything. I mean, we don't. I would love to be a fly on the wall and see what goes on over there, but will we ever truly know? No. But this review,
pretty eye-opening.
Is eye-opening. It is eye-opening. It is eye-opening. And I don't want to say, of course, that this person is lying, because this person sounds very hurt when they wrote this, and I don't want to invalidate their feelings saying like you're lying.
Oh, absolutely. We just also know that, and this is just general statement, we're not going to invalidate anybody, but like one person's experience could be totally different than this poor person, because you're right, this person does sound like they're hurting.
This person is hurting. This person is hurting. This person sounds like, honestly, somebody that if I was an employer, I would hire this person. This person sounds like they wanted an opportunity for growth. Every company should love an employee that wants to do that. This person also sounds like they're a good communicator, because they said there's terrible communication between departments. And I think even we as the fans saw it as well. I think there was one time where I saw it on Facebook with roommates with benefits. They gave the MC new faces, but then when you played the game, MC had like the DS face. And then everybody's like, what? What happened? And then PB said, oh, there was a mix-up or something like that. And I'm like, there it goes. There was miscommunication. So I believe that, yes, I believe this person when they say terrible communication, because if they post something on Facebook or Instagram and then people open up the app and they say, wait a minute, that's not what the MC is supposed to look like, then yeah. But
when all else fails, use the open heart faces.
I think that was the joke. It was open heart, and then they started using, I think, the Queen Bee faces. But now the faces now look anemic. They look anemic. That's what, and also like their bodies are inproportionate. You know, they kind of look more like dolls than people. Like their heads are bigger, you know, it's like, that's what it's like. Oh my God. Oh, this person has advice for management. Upper management needs legitimate management training. For all the DEI promises you make, you need to actually follow through them with them when you're contacted. I think DEI is, I forget what DEI is.
Are we Googling it? Is it worth a Google?
Yeah. DEI meeting. Yeah, let's see. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. Okay. Well, I that we don't know. You know, I guess you know, I'm a straight cisgender woman. I don't think there's anything that makes me diverse. So if I say like, hey, okay, this book allows you to be non-binary, or you know, allows you to be a different race, you know. But when it comes to that case, I just simply say, who am I to judge? I don't judge that. I don't know. Because I am the complete opposite of DEI. I am the complete opposite of it. So yeah. So listen, but I think that would be a better question for anybody, any of our fans who are part of the LGBTQ plus community or is a racial minority. Please, Jamie and I, we're just two ignorant white women. please just educate us. So but yes, so that is the review. And it's something, of course, like we said, it is an eye-opener. We're not saying that probably every employee is feeling this way, but this one definitely does give you an insight of what's going on, because a lot of us are pretty much kind of having the same complaints, you know, like, and which is, does PB know what the fuck they're doing? And the answer is, this person kind of said it, and that is like, no, because they have upper management that doesn't know what they're doing.
And just remember, if you are curious to see this review yourself, it is on Reddit. That's how we came across it.
Oh, it was on Reddit. It was on Facebook. It was on Tumblr. It was everywhere. And that's what happened. And then everybody was saying, oh, now I get it. That's the reason why this happened, that, and this is why AI is being used, and yada, yada, yada. Because, yeah, they laid off like 75% of their staff. And then this is what happens when you lay off your staff, is then you realize, oh, the talented people that we needed are gone, and now we have to find cheaper ways to do it. And when it's cheap, it doesn't mean that the quality is good. So, and yeah, and of course, people are, people are, of course, pretty much kind of upset with the new books.
What are I know you told me something about like the Dead Game or something like that.
Okay, the two books that people still like, at least in my opinion, I don't know. Well, first of all, let me just say, I kind of have not really been paying attention, because like those are the only two books I like, but those still books are the only two books that people are psyched about. But yes, Immortal Desires 2 and The Deadliest Game. And now The Deadliest Game, I truly believe, is probably somebody that left or got laid off or whatever, whoever wrote those stories like Crimes of Passion or Veil of Secrets or Murder at Homecoming, something tells me that was that person's last triumph before they're probably going to leave. Because now everybody likes it. Everybody really likes it, and it is good. It's a mystery. It's about you're a writer, you're a mystery writer, and you go to your childhood friend's mansion where he's a millionaire.
Yeah, my childhood friend became a millionaire. My childhood best friends and I, we still make jokes about being like $30,000 in credit card debt.
Exactly. Well, your friend Nick, the millionaire, he hosts a murder mystery party. Now, my aunt did that a couple of months ago, and it was a lot of fun. And I hope everybody had fun too, because I think I had COVID incubating in my body at that time. So I hope nobody in my family got COVID. But anyway, But anyway, but yeah, it's a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. And I would definitely do it again. And so but anyway, back to the story, back to the choices story. But yeah, you go to your friend's mansion where he's hosting a murder mystery party with a menagerie of people. And there's a storm. And then your friend, the millionaire, gets pushed out of the window and is already bloodied and is not killed from the fall. And people wonder if it was a suicide. And then you all realize, no, this was not a suicide. Somebody actually probably killed him and then pushed him out the window to make it look like a suicide.
The butler did it. Oh, is this not Clue?
But anyway, but yeah, and also the other thing is that since there was a storm, you know, the cops can't come right away because you know the roads are bad. So you're stuck in the house with the murderer. You're stuck in the house with the murderer, and you got to figure out who the murderer is. So it's kind of like Veil of Secrets. You know, again with Veil of Secrets, you know, I think if I remember that MC was a journalist or something in writing, or Murder at Homecoming. I mean, you were kind of like a teen detective, you know, you didn't really have any real credentials, you know, you were kind of like a Nancy Drew. But yeah, it's like another one of those whodunit and somebody with no detective experience becomes the detective, or at least has probably like some sort of detective experience, because this person, you play an MC that's probably like the next Agatha Christie or something. But
I still stand by that the butler did it. Is there a butler?
No, there is no butler. There is no butler. I know.
The scene of the crime, the butler did it.
And it was kind of funny. And speaking of Clue, I love that movie. My sister got me into it at a very young age, and I just absolutely adored it. And it's still one of my favorite board games of all time. But it does kind of sound like Clue. Like if you ever watch the movie Clue, they all go to a mansion for a dinner party. There's a storm, and then of course, like everybody gets killed. But it's really funny. It's a really funny movie. It's a hysterical movie. So there's a lot of great quotes from that movie. But it kind of does sound like that. And the only difference with Clue is that they're all kind of high profile people. Like Mrs. Peacock was a senator's wife, or Mrs. White had like 5 dead husbands, you know, or Professor Plum was a prominent professor, or Colonel Mustard was in World War II, you know, so they all have and they all have their own secrets. They're all high profile people, and they all have their own secrets. And you just kind of got to figure out who's killing who and who makes the best jokes. So, and also Tim Curry is in it. Tim Curry plays the butler.
The butler.
Tim Curry plays the butler.
Let me die on this hill. The butler did it, and that is that.
So if you love Tim Curry, you gotta watch it. But because Tim Curry is amazing. But yeah, so yeah, that's the Deadliest Game. It's a lot of fun. And something tells me that it was probably written by the Veil of Secrets writer, The Crimes of Passion, The Murder at Homecoming, and then something tells me that is that person's last triumph before they left PB. But I don't know. I don't know. That is just a theory, because everybody wants more of those books and PB's not really delivering them. So maybe they just probably only had one writer that wrote mysteries, but I don't know.
want to know, because last time you gave me the update on what kind of books were being released, it was like Smut Train, and is it still Smut Train?
I say so. Unbridled finished. That was so boring. That was a spin-off of Untamable, which was also boring. It was boring smut. Hot Shot, I'm really not interested in, especially now since the Rangers are out of the NHL playoffs. We're not going to get the Stanley Cup. Damn it. We're not. I don't think so. I don't think we're getting the Stanley Cup. But yeah, because my brother lives upstairs, and him, my nephew, and my dad were all watching the game, and they haven't been really watching a lot of games lately. So something tells me that we're out. But anyway, but yeah, Hot Shot I find to be boring, because another thing is, like, the captain of the hockey team, the love interest, is known to have like a really bad temper and fight on the ice. And I'm like, isn't that what hockey is? Like, isn't that what hockey is? Isn't that what it is? I thought that was always what it was. But yeah, so that was, and of course you're playing a reporter. You're playing a reporter to tune in on the game. And of course I'm bored with that. Because then again, it's just another smut book. The other one is Guarded. Guarded is another one that nobody likes. People thought it would be like, people probably thought it would be like, no, I don't want to say people thought it would be like, when you first hear the story, you would think it's like that Whitney Houston movie, The Bodyguard. You would think. Yeah.
What is this, like Witness 2.0?
It is, but at least the MC is likable. At least the MC is nice. It's about MC is an actress, and she has a stalker, and she gets a bodyguard, and then she falls in love with the bodyguard, or her PR rep says that she and her bodyguard should be dating. I don't know. It's one of those books where I put on the autoplay and just tap. I don't know if you know, but there's this new feature called the autoplay. It's where, like, you just press it on and the story just goes, and you don't really need to tap it, and it only stops when a choice needs to be made. But
Fun.
It makes like diamond mining so much easier. It just makes it so much easier. But yeah, so then there's that. And then then there's Along Came Treble. That just released. That's another book, and the reason why I'm not into it is because it's gender locked. It's gender locked. So far, like, really no smutty things, but I think, like, you're an intern or something, and you have to be babysitting this musician. But again, it's another book that I'm like, I'm so bored with. I'm just so bored with. I'm just collecting diamonds. Then there's another one that's coming out called, I think, The Ghost Among Us. And that sounds like it sort of sounds like, if you ever seen the movie Ghost, I thought it was probably going to be like that. If you ever see the movie Ghost, Patrick Swayze plays a guy who prematurely dies, and he gets Whoopi Goldberg's character, who's like this fraudulent fortune teller. Like if you remember from the 90s, like Miss Cleo, she's kind of like that. And Patrick Swayze gets her to tell his girlfriend, Patrick Swayze's girlfriend, who's Demi Moore, that the new guy she's dating is bad news. But there's no love interest between Patrick Swayze and Whoopi Goldberg, or or anything like that. And that's what I thought probably the Ghost Among Us would sort of be like. But no, it's like you're a medium like Whoopi Goldberg, and you actually date a ghost, which is probably Patrick Swayze. And I'm like, what? What? You're fucking a ghost?
I guess I'm just confused as to how that's like. I'm confused. How would that work?
Honestly, I am too. The Ghost of Us. Yeah, I'm reading it here. I'm reading like the first chapter. As a medium, you're used to working with the dead, but when a ghost needs your help to solve their murder, will your growing feelings get in the way? So yes, that's kind of like what Ghost is. Patrick Swayze gets Whoopi Goldberg to say, hey, can you just tell my girlfriend Demi Moore that the guy that she's dating is shit? So it's sort of like that, but the problem is like Whoopi Goldberg and Patrick Swayze don't have anything, So that's like, I don't know. To me, that's just weird. But then again, with this book, I haven't read it. All I know is that I think it's gender locked, which is another reason why I don't want to play it. But I want those diamonds. I want those diamonds for the deadliest game in Immortal Desires. So, yeah, that's why I play. That's why.
Fair enough.
And then, of course, there's another one coming out. This is the VIP one. But of course, soon it'll be out for regular players. That one is the Hearts of Fire. I think I told you that one.
Is that the firefighter one?
Yeah. And I am like, oh God, I hope it's not smut. I hope it's not smut, because I just don't understand. I just don't understand sexualizing a profession, and especially a firefighter. And I'm gonna get a lot of fucking hate for this. I'm truly gonna get a lot of fucking hate for this. I'm not saying I'm offended. I'm just saying I don't understand. I don't understand. My uncle was a firefighter in 9/11. I don't know what's so sexy about that, please. I don't know. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't know.
Your uncle was a hero, and I think it's because it's like, my dad's retired, but my dad was a firefighter, and like I said, like, they put their lives on the line, and your uncle did a great service.
So did your father.
Yeah,
but he wasn't the Twin Towers. Doesn't mean, yeah.
I think that's what I get what you're trying to say. I think you're trying to say is like, this is a very serious job. These people are putting their lives on the line. They deserve respect, not to be sexualized.
Exactly. And I think that's what people were trying to say to me. Like there's something sexy about being a hero, but I'm like, I don't know. My uncle still has all that debris in his lungs. There's nothing sexy about coughing that shit up. I don't know.
But he did it because he wanted to help people. He made a difference.
Yeah. I know. No, I know. Yeah. And that's something like, after 9/11, that's what my mother asked him. She's like, how do you go into a burning building? And he says, my uncle says, well, yeah, think of your children in there. And it's like, this is a serious job. This is a really serious job. But yes, and then I think also another thing that they're doing, and this is my beef with PB, that I don't think gets talked about a lot. They're putting out too many VIP books, and then not general books for everybody. So they did this with The Deadliest Game. They had like a prequel. It was like only a few chapters. And then I think for Hearts of Fire, they're going to be like, they're going to have one with Ethan Ramsey at Open Heart.
Seriously? Like, didn't they get enough of him?
I don't know.
I mean, like I said, I don't know. I never played, I quit playing, so I never got to finish Open Heart 2, but and I mean, I get it. If you love Ethan, if he was your love interest, like that's awesome. I'm glad. Just I know not everybody romance Ethan. I know, like I told you when I played Open Heart Book 1, because that's the only one I fully completed. My love interest was Bryce.
Yeah, Bryce is the love interest that I felt like I should have romanced. And then I don't know, I went with Ethan, and then I kind of stayed with Ethan because I'm like, well, I chose it. There's no turning back now. I don't want to do a polyamorous relationship, but yeah. I know. But if I had to do it again, I would do Bryce. And I would just stick with it. But yeah, I know. Yeah, haven't you had enough of it? They also did this for Valentine's Day. They also did I think like maybe about 4 chapters, Villainous Valentine, where you have the option to, I guess, romance Olivia. And I think that's probably the only villain that you would know. Oh, Ship of Dreams ended, thank God.
Oh,
Ship of Dreams ended. Thank God that book ended. Thank God. I will say this, though. I will say chapter 18 was done very well, because I'm like, okay, I hate this book, but chapter 18 was done very well. Yes, these characters aren't real, but this is a real story. This is what real people went through when the Titanic was sinking. So that was like probably like the only time I kind of like wanted to cry, because I'm like, these are real stories. But then you get to the next chapter when you're on a lifeboat and you decide to fuck in a lifeboat to keep warm, and I am like, wonderful. Wonderful. You keep warm in a lifeboat by just having sex. I'm like, oh my God. My God. You know what? If Rose and Jack did that, I'm wondering if both of them would have survived. Could they do it on top of the door?
I mean, I still stand by that door was large enough for both of them. It has been proven, or they could have
everybody says that. Everybody says that.
I remember like watching the Mythbusters episode on it, and I'm like, oh, they could have. But then like James Cameron was interviewed, and he's like, I understand the science, like I understand where you're coming from, like science-wise, but like he still had to die. The movie wouldn't have worked if he did not die.
Yeah, no, I see that way. And that's why with Ship of Dreams, I kind of really wanted the Li to die, because here's the reason why. And I'm gonna get more hate. I'm gonna get so much hate in this podcast. I really am.
You're morbid.
I'm thinking on a historical level. First of all, of course, this Li is gender customizable because it's a single Li book. If you play the Li's name is Theo. So if you play female Theo, She's also an engine worker. There were no women engine workers. There were none. There were no women engine workers at that time. So that itself is historically inaccurate. 2, a lot of the engine workers, actually maybe almost all of them, died because they were in the boiler room. They were in the boiler room. And those were like the first places that filled up. So, and you notice with Theo, I'm going to use he because I chose a male ally. He doesn't really work in the engine room because he just kind of like, he just always pops up everywhere. Like he's never, there's like only one scene where he's in the engine room. But I'm like, how does he keep sneaking out of the engine room to be with MC? And I'm like, you know how much coal they had to put in the Titanic to keep her moving? I mean, like, it sounds like there were no brakes. There were no brakes. There were no, like, hours off where you could just, weasel your way into first class. I was like, what the this? So that's another reason why I didn't like it.
He just popped up everywhere.
He just popped up. And I will say this with our sequel, we try extremely hard to be historically accurate. We try very, very hard. But of course, when you do a historical book, you gotta do your research. You gotta do your research. Like and of course, I feel like PB just does not do that. They even did that. They even didn't do their historical research in DS. Because what happened was when they were going to the governor's ball, you were going as the ambassador for Italy. Italy didn't exist. Italy wasn't united. So there really kind of like was no Italy. It was just all broken up until like probably 100 years later. And same thing we think with Germany as well, but they didn't mention Germany. But yeah, we all know that PB is not the best with accuracy or doing research. Another one is Billionaire's Baby, which everybody hates. Everybody hates Billionaire's Baby. One of the inaccuracies with that is that in order to be a surrogate, you have to had a successful pregnancy. And MC has never been pregnant. But yeah. Oh yeah. I'm at the point with PB where I am like I am like I really am just not paying attention to what you're putting out because I'm just simply, I think they're just going through a dry spell with me, of course. I just want to hear about if it's gender of choice, I'll read it. But of course, with these books coming up, I don't know. I don't know because I really haven't really been paying attention, but I just feel like, oh my God. I just PB has done this to me so many times before, so many times lately where it's just a bad book. I just can't give it. I'm just kind of running out of benefit, giving it the benefit of the doubt.
I don't know. I play Romance Club.
I gotta get into that. I do. And I know so many people say like they switched to Romance Club. And I think a lot of them switched to Romance Club after DS wasn't getting a sequel.
That's actually what I found. Romance Club because when DS wasn't getting a sequel and I deleted choices, and I'm like, I still want to play something. And I saw on Tumblr that someone's like, dude, you got to try Romance Clubs. I downloaded it and I was like, dang, this is good.
Yeah.
There's
know.
multiple love interests in every book, and your choices actually have a legitimate outcome in how the story ends.
Oh yeah. And that's what I sometimes feel is so confusing with Romance Club, is because there's so many love interests that come in. There's just so many outcomes, and it is like a real book that you do have to pay attention to, and you really do need to spend your diamonds on, because I just also noticed that their diamond, like their diamond options are just not the same price. Like for perfect example, like, you know how in choices, like a new outfit's probably like 25 diamonds, or a dirty 30 is that, a dirty 30. Yeah, you know, I feel like that with Romance Club, it's not like that. Like, I could get a pet for like 100 diamonds. I think that was in the Heart of Trespia, I believe. I got like I got an owl for like 100 diamonds.
Okay, well, the Heart of Trespia is really, really good.
I got it. I know. I do got to finish Heart of Trespia. I had Wyatt as my love interest.
That's who I ended up with. I got a happy ending.
The series finished?
Heart of Trespia, yeah, it ended.
Okay. Yeah, I know. I gotta get back into Romance Club.
What helps me though is I wait for the book to be fully released and I use the walkthroughs to make sure I get a happy ending.
I know. Yes, I'll be honest. I do use the walkthroughs at Romance Club. I do. I am like, okay, I am just gonna abandon my 90, my 90s childhood, and say, like, okay, I don't have to go on the playground and ask somebody, how do I catch a Pikachu? I can just go online and figure out.
Because, yeah, I was like using the walkthroughs because I'm like, I fell in love with I love all my love interests in Romance Club. And I was like, damn it, if I don't get a happy ending with so and so because I missed one choice on this walkthrough, then I'm gonna be pissed.
I know.
Especially Chasing You, because that's my favorite Romance Club book ever.
Chasing You, what's that about?
That is the one where the girl went to go visit her aunt, and she was like gonna get an inheritance from her aunt, but then her aunt ended up dying, and everyone thought like she murdered her aunt. Ooh. And it turns out her aunt like worked with the mafia, and her uncle was like in cahoots trying to get her killed when they went to Japan.
Wow.
And it was actually like her cousin that like was responsible for like all the bad stuff happening to her.
You know, I'm wondering if it's like, and this is what I'm feeling with The Deadliest Game, because you have the same feeling like whoever wrote Veil of Secrets or Murder at Homecoming or Cop. You realize that the killer is somebody that you would never expect. So I'm wondering if Chasing You is like a book like that.
I mean, there were like subtle clues, but you got to like really kind of like pay attention to like, because once it was released at the end and it was who did it, I was like, you.
I know, yeah. So that's what and I mean, that's kind of like what I'm doing with The Deadliest Game. I'm like, okay, who's the least suspicious person? And I'm like, and I think everybody agrees with me, because I once in a while, I go on the VIP and I just see what people are saying. I don't see why they're saying it. but they all think it's a character named Liz, who I think is Nick, your friend's assistant. And so far, she seems very happy. She likes working there, or whatever. And I think like, I'm up to like, I think chapter 4. I'm not a VIP, but I think like she was probably like at the time maybe looking for another job, or but she's still like, she sounds harmless. She sounds harmless. So, but yeah, so I think that's just what I learned from playing mystery books and choices. And same thing with The Unexpected Heiress. Same thing with The Unexpected Heiress, which is a really great mystery book that nobody talks about. But yeah.
Yeah.
But you just, and just like, you probably just know who the writer is when you read these stories. And
Well, there is a diamond rush going on in Romance Club, and I want to also make sure you don't get any more hate on this podcast.
I know I'm gonna get a lot. I'm gonna get a lot of hate. I'm gonna get a lot of hate because I'm proud. I really don't know what I'm talking about, because right now my feelings for PB are overclouding me looking over at the facts.
Well, I mean, you're allowed to have an opinion. Just because someone else doesn't agree with it doesn't mean your opinion's wrong.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, how many times do I have to read a Choices Monthly and be disappointed, or something like that? Or it's just simply like, if I hear a book is gender locked, then I'm not interested in playing. And that's basically what's been happening. Oh, a book is gender locked, or oh, this book is smut. Okay, I'm not going to read about it. That's it. And I have a feeling like everybody's going to ask me, like, why do you still play? Why do you still play Choices? And it's like, it's because, like, once in a while you do get good books like Immortal Desires, or The Deadliest Game, or Crimes of Passion 3 is coming out. Oh, Crimes of Passion, also there's like a little mini book for VIP players. I think it's like only 2 chapters, but it's like Tristan, the love interest, proposes to MC. So it's like, that's good. So it's in between books 2 and 3. I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I'll because sometimes PB does this. They have like VIP for a day for like $1.99, and then maybe I'll be like, okay, I'll do that. Just spend $1.99
Just to read a little book.
Just to read a little book. Just to read a little book. But yeah, I know I'm gonna get a lot of questions of that. Like, why do you still play? I still play because there are good books out there. There's the option to replay the books I like. There's a good community.
And also just remember, you don't have to justify yourself to anybody either, like of why you played. It's, if people have a problem with it, they can
yeah, I know.
It costs nothing to mind your business.
It costs nothing. It's just so sad. And it really is so sad to see that this was a great company, and it's just going down. It's going down. And from the looks of it, I mean, from, of course, with this Glassdoor review, it sounds like it has nothing to do with COVID. It has nothing to do with inflation. It's simply bad choices. No pun intended. It's all it is. And I've noticed something from both. I've worked with all types of companies, and I just noticed that big companies don't care. Little companies don't know. So in my case, I say big companies are missing a pair of eyes. Little companies are missing a brain. So I think that's what it is. I mean, PB is a small company, and they just they don't have a brain. they don't have a brain. I'm like, I just want to say to them, like, okay, where's the yellow brick road? Where do you go to get the wizard to get you a brain? I mean, that's it. I mean, that's all I want to say, because it's sad. That's all it is. It's just so, it's so sad. That's all it is. It's, oh my God. Yeah.
Well, I'm kind of tired, so
Yeah, me
to
too.
work tomorrow.
Alrighty. Well, I think we've done enough complaining, at least me. And I'm probably gonna get a lot of hate for this. So
Well, I got your back if you do.
oh, thank you. Alrighty. Well, everybody, thank you for listening to us, and also thank you very much for supporting us. I know this is a tough project, and we can't do it without your support. So thank you very much. And we'll see everybody later.
And just remember, we think you're all awesome. I mean, heck, I even think everybody at Pixelberry is awesome in their own way. We just all gotta make smart choices.
We just don't agree with the way they're doing things. That's all.
God bless y'all.
Goodbye, everybody.